Hello and welcome to the Infertility Podcast. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Candace. Grab a biscuit because we've got the tea on all things infertility. Hey guys, welcome to episode 9.
Hello.
So in this episode, we wanted to talk about diminished ovarian reserve, or better known as DOR. I spoke with my friend Ashley and wanted to get her perspective on her DOR. She also has genetic factors in her infertility. So let's listen. Hey guys, it's me.
Do I say hi now?
This is going to be really fun. I am over at my friend Ashley's house, who I wanted to call Felicia, just in case she didn't want to
My name's Ashley, not
give
Felicia.
her identity. I was willing to change her name for the safety of her and her family, just in case she didn't want people knowing who she was.
I'm going to get real famous from this podcast and people are going to come stalk me.
I know. You're going to have people lined up at your door.
I can't
Luckily,
wait.
we won't say the location we're at. I will say it is in near and around Columbia, South Carolina, but there's no way you could know.
No way.
Yeah, so this is Ashley, and I'm really excited to have her on our podcast today because Ashley and I met on Instagram.
We did. We're Instagram
Yeah,
friends. And real friends.
And real friends. Instagram turned real friends.
Yes.
So I remember the first time I kind of talked to you, Daniel and I were at Paige's Ochre Grill, and you commented on my picture because Paige's coffee cups have Charleston, South Carolina on it. And you said, "Oh my gosh, are you in South Carolina?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so anyway, we figured out that we go to the same doctor. Mm-hmm. We go to the same clinic, and we went to the same doctor at the time.
At the time.
Spoiler alert, I changed doctors.
In case you haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, if you haven't been listening to this podcast, then anyways. So that's when we first kind of talked back and forth. And then our friendship got really real. Do you want to tell a story of how we met in person?
Oh gosh, that's kind of an embarrassing story on my account.
It's the greatest.
Okay, you're gonna have to help me tell this story because I am
fine.
not a good storyteller. So my husband and I were in the middle of our second retrieval cycle.
Yep.
And there was one weekend we thought we were going to have an appointment, and the weekend appointments for this clinic, you have to go to the main clinic.
Right, because you were our clinic in particular. They have like a main clinic in Charleston, and then they have several throughout the state of South Carolina, and one in Savannah, and so on and so forth.
So I did all of my monitoring appointments here in Columbia, but there was a weekend appointment that we thought we were going to have. So we were like, okay, let's make this a weekend trip. We got a hotel and went to Charleston, and the appointment ended up getting canceled, but we still went to Charleston.
As happens with everything in IVF.
Exactly.
Cancellations and...
Exactly. So we were getting ready for our gonal and HCG shot for the night, and we were really prepared. We had our cooler with all of our medications, and I go to do my gonal shot and realized I forgot the needles.
Oh, that's not going to do.
No. So my husband, we start calling all these pharmacies, and of course, nobody can help us out. And I remember, don't I know somebody in Charleston doing IVF at Operation Baby Bump?
Yep.
So I think I messaged you and said, help.
Yeah.
Help. That was what I said.
Oh my gosh.
And so my husband and I ended up driving over to this Instagram friend's house, and Candace.
And you stayed for like 3 hours.
We talked for a while. I think you and Rick my husband talked about your love of serial killers.
Yep. We talked about murder. We really bonded over that.
And IVF.
Yeah, and Rick and I were talking about how if Daniel and Ashley and Rick and I ever went on a double date to the movies, Rick and I would go see some horror movie, and Ashley and Daniel would go see some rom-com. They're seriously, I think, yeah. Yeah.
But no, we rolled up to your apartment with our cooler, with our gonal, without a needle.
Yeah.
But you saved the day.
Yes,
you saved that cycle.
Yes. And if anybody else needs any Gonal-F needles, I've got a crap ton loads. I have bags of those needles left.
So do I. That was what was so frustrating about it, because they send so many needles in those boxes. Who uses all of those?
Oh, yeah. And when you get like one of those 300 unit pens and they still include 12 needles, and you're like, who is on such a low dose?
I know, exactly. I'm like, I'm 450 units a shot here.
Exactly.
What's that 300 units?
I know. Yeah. That's not even one full dose.
Not even a full dose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We
And that's how we met, guys.
That's how we met.
Isn't that romantic?
That was how long ago was that? 2017? I don't know.
It was in the fall
I know it was October.
of 2000. It had to have been the fall of 2017 because last year you had spoiler alert. We won't tell what she did last year in October yet. So stick around.
Stay tuned. My life's not that interesting, guys. I promise.
Yeah, it had to have been like the fall of 2017 because you guys were supposed to go on a ghost tour.
We never did it.
And you never did because you stayed at our apartment and talked. We talked
stood
forever.
them up. We ghosted the ghost tour.
It's amazing. Oh my gosh. It was all for good cause though. Can you imagine if you would have had to send in a cancellation form for that? Why did you cancel on us? Why did you ghost us?
Why did you ghost us? I needed to meet my drug dealer.
I know. Had to get those needles.
Luckily, those good clean needles.
Right. Luckily it was a clean needle. That's really funny.
Gosh, but no, I know it was October because we were watching USC play somebody in football.
Oh, yeah, and Daniel and Rick were standing there by the TV watching. And they were talking about sports and
football.
You and I were talking about our lives and how crappy they were.
And parabens and phthalates. You gave me...
And PVC and BPA.
You gave me toner.
That's right.
And I love it. The rose.
Oh, it's my favorite.
I feel like I'm at a spa every time I spray my face.
I love it. Guys, just quickly, side note.
Not sponsored by.
I'm not sponsored by Andalou, but I'd love to be sponsored by Andalou.
Sponsor Candace.
Oh, gosh. Reach out to me. Slide into my email or my DMs. Yes. Oh, I'm so big into like non-toxic. Ashley is too.
Yes.
And Andalou, like their toner is amazing.
The rose.
I'm into rose anything.
Yes.
Right now.
I agree.
These days.
It's calming.
Oh yeah, and it makes me feel like a lady when I don't
opposed
usually
to-
feel like a lady.
How do you normally feel?
I don't feel like a lady most of the time because I don't shave my legs.
You're not lady without.
I'm
how
not
many people
reproducing. There's a lot that makes me not feel like a lady.
But that rose, it makes you feel like a lady.
I know it really does, like an old English lady, which I want to be that when I grow up.
Yes.
Like
so
some
classic.
kept woman with my dogs and my martinis.
Do you watch Southern Charms?
I
you
want to
be Patricia.
Her. Yeah. I love her so much. With her freaking diamond rings.
With her butler. What's his name?
Michael.
Michael.
Oh my gosh, when I was going to College of Charleston, I was on my way to school one day and I saw Michael sweeping the back porch.
No.
Like he had come out the back because I passed her house every day.
Her mansion, not her house.
Like, look it up, guys. Southern Charm.
Patricia at, how do you say her name?
Patricia Altschul, I believe.
Sure.
Altschul? I think that's how you say it. But, oh my gosh, I saw him and I was like, Mike! I rolled my window down. And I was like, Michael!
Did he hear you?
I need my medicine.
Your medicine.
That's what she says when she
her
needs her martini.
Her medicine.
Oh, medicine.
I don't know if I can say that. I went to college with, what is her name? The redhead.
Oh, Katherine. You did?
Yes. She was a few years younger than me.
Wow.
At USC.
I didn't know that.
Fun fact.
All this time.
Fun fact, yes.
I feel like our relationship
We're at the next
has
level.
risen above so much more. That's amazing. I actually saw her at Harris Teeter once.
Really?
Yeah, she was coming out, and I was like,
Can't miss the hair. Did she have her kids with her?
no.
No.
That was back when she was kind of off the rails a little bit. She's turned her life around.
She has.
Yeah.
She has. Anyways.
Southern Charm, coming to DVD this fall.
Again, not sponsored by.
Not sponsored by anybody. I'm sponsored by myself. No, but I do live in Charleston, and I do watch Southern Charm. That's where it's filmed. And if you like Southern Charm, slide into my DMs, and let's talk about it. So, Ashley, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about, like, your story, like how you and Rick met, and like when y'all decided to have kids, etc.
So we met when we were in college. We were seniors in college, and it was St. Patrick's Day.
Go Gamecocks.
Yes, go Gamecocks. Again, not sponsored by. But we love the Gamecocks.
They do. I'm looking at a bunch of stuff in their house right now.
Gosh, it's obsessive. Anyways, we were seniors. It was St. Patrick's Day, and Rick and his friends were hosting a St. Patrick's Day party. So after lots of alcohol, lots of fun and festivities, we just connected. And the rest is history. That's how we met. But very much like you and Daniel, we did long distance for the first 2 years of our relationship. Wow. I was in grad school in South Florida. Go FAU. Go Owls.
Nice.
Hoot hoot.
Hoot hoot. Is that what y'all do at, like, games and stuff? Hoot hoot.
Hoot hoot. You have to do the arms though, like an owl.
Oh my gosh. I don't think their arms bend that way.
Maybe it's
She's
like
doing some, like, chicken vulture. I don't know.
You can edit that out too.
No, I wish this was a video now.
Behind the scenes,
right.
The Infertility podcast. But no, I was at grad school in South Florida, getting my master's for speech pathology. And Rick lived in Richmond, Virginia. He was working at U of R, University of Richmond. And
Go milk cartons. Gulp, gulp.
the spiders.
Oh, the spiders.
Scurry.
Ew, no.
Go spiders. No. But we dated for 2 years long distance, lots of flying back and forth, not as far away as you and Daniel, but anyways, we got married in 2014, and we knew we wanted to have kids.
Yeah.
We always knew that. Rick is the youngest of 4 kids in his family. All of his siblings have children, and that was just something that was really important to us. We knew we wanted to have kids. So I'm not sure where to go from there, Candace. Help me.
So now you guys have a really unique story, because you had, today's podcast is about diminished ovarian reserve. So you had that, but you also had genetic factors at play.
Yes.
When did you know, when you first met Rick, did he tell you about that?
Yes, actually, on our second date.
Wow.
Yes.
Just laying it right.
He's
just
like, if you're
laying
gonna
it all out there.
Yeah, he's like, this is me.
Yeah.
But no, our second date, I think he had just found out that he was a carrier for Fragile X.
Wow.
And he was just telling me about it. He showed me, he has a cousin who is affected by Fragile X, and we were talking about his cousin, and I think it was more of him just trying to process what he had just learned. And I was very fascinated by it because I was a psychology major and into research, and knew a lot about autism and Fragile X and how closely related they
Yeah.
are. But yeah, so very early on, we knew that if we were going to have kids, this was going to be something that we were going to have to
Overcome.
overcome. And so shortly after we got married, we met with a genetic counselor to figure out what our reproductive options were.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that opportunity.
Yes.
And you guys were unique
Yes.
in that situation.
We're very grateful for the technology that's available nowadays, that we knew that that was something that was going to affect us and our reproductive future. I mean, we knew that we wanted what was best for our children and our
Right.
children's future. And
What did they tell you that your options were at that genetic counselor session?
yeah, so we met with multiple genetic counselors, but our first one, they told us that if we wanted our children to not be affected, really the only option was to do IVF with PGS testing.
Right.
They told us that Fragile X is an X-linked genetic
Right.
disorder. So if we were to have boys, they would not be affected with Fragile
Interesting.
X. If we were to have girls, they would be affected.
Now, is that in his case? Because I know that, I work with patients
Yes.
that have autism as well, and it seems like the boys have Fragile X.
So Rick is a carrier of it. He is
Okay.
He's a premutation carrier is
Gotcha.
actually what it's called.
Okay.
So our girls would be carriers of it. They would be carriers. And when you're a carrier of Fragile X, this is getting very technical, they have symptoms that affects them as well. Females that are carriers of Fragile X have something called Fragile X what is it called? Ovarian insufficiency.
Oh, wow.
So Rick's sister is a carrier of Fragile X, and at 30, she was already getting ready to start menopause.
Wow.
And males who are premutation carriers of Fragile X have something, or they are at risk for something called Fragile X tremor ataxic syndrome, I think is exactly what it's called, where they have Parkinson type symptoms, and they have tremors. They can end up, on feeding tubes. It's very sad.
Oh my gosh.
Very sad. And the genetic counselor just kind of set everything out there, and this is what our children could be affected by.
Yeah.
But if we did IVF with PGS and had healthy males, they wouldn't be affected, and their children won't be affected.
Yeah.
So we chose to end the Fragile
Yeah.
X with us.
Well, that's really good. I mean,
It was-
a lot of people might think that's really controversial.
it is.
And I'm sure that you've probably dealt with maybe some opinions. Have you had anybody say anything to you about that?
We have had some people tell us things like, "Oh, you're playing God. You're playing God," and that's hard to hear. But we are very, solid in our decision that we want what's best for our family.
Yeah.
And after going through in vitro, I would feel so guilty if we ended up having a girl and she had early menopause and she had to do IVF.
Yeah.
We just know that we've made the best decision we
Yeah.
could for our family and our family's family, our
Yeah.
future.
I think if you have the knowledge at hand, you can't change the past, right? So you can't change your grandparents and their grandparents and them having children and passing things down and down and down. But if you have the knowledge of, hey, this is like gonna be an issue, could potentially be an issue, it's not like you're going in and making these embryos and like altering their genes or anything. You're just weeding out.
Yeah, we're trying to make sure that our kids aren't affected by
Don't
anything
have
genetic.
difficulties.
Yeah.
And I think like, I hope this conversation isn't making you uncomfortable because I feel like I've seen both sides.
Yeah.
I've seen some people saying, like, we have genetic things and we want to weed, like, we don't want our kids to have to deal with those things.
Like you see cystic fibrosis on Instagram all the time.
Absolutely. And then you've got people commenting on them and saying, you're playing God, like, that's so wrong, like, how dare you? And I think it's important to see that these are people's actual lives, and you can't judge every situation, and you can't generalize across.
Exactly. Everybody's journey is different.
Right.
And I think what was the big thing for us is Rick does have a cousin who is fully affected by this, and we've seen what it's done to him, to his family, and you don't wish that upon anybody.
Right.
You don't wish that. And I mean, we just made the best decision that we could for our family. Yeah. And I'm so thankful that we have done this and have gone through this in vitro route, because we've learned a lot about...
Oh, it'll make you a medical professional. I assure you. It will make you a reproductive endocrinologist, if nothing, at the minimum.
Exactly.
So you had the genetic issues, and you knew pretty early on. You knew very early on in your relationship.
Yes.
But when you guys got married, it wasn't just like you were trying for all this time and nothing happened. You kind of knew that, like, this is going to be our route.
Yeah. So we were thankful to know early on that we were going to be battling this genetic component. And so we planned for when we wanted to start in vitro. And we started in 2017. So we went in for our blood work and met with our reproductive endocrinologist. We actually interviewed too and went. I know.
And you chose that one? Just kidding.
Let me back up and tell you about the one that we interviewed first.
Oh my gosh, please tell me.
So this was our first time meeting with a reproductive endocrinologist. We went in we were very excited, like, oh, this could be the person that helps make us parents. And in the middle of our consultation, she answers her cell phone, doesn't excuse herself, just picks up
I'm sorry,
the
hang on
phone.
1 second. Yes. What was that? I'm just kidding.
I was like, oh, Daniel's calling.
She just looked at me like she was waiting for me to get off the phone. She didn't get...
I was not picking up what you were throwing down.
Oh my God. Who called her?
A client, a patient.
Wow.
And she settled a bill in our...
No, she didn't.
You can't make this up. I will not say her name, but I will tell you later.
So why didn't you pick her?
We were really torn. So we did not meet with her. We did not choose her.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we ended up meeting with the person that we chose to stick with. And in that first appointment, where they take your blood, and we went in for our ultrasound, and they looked at my follicles. They did my antral follicle count.
Right.
And that was our first indicator that things were not going to be as easy and straightforward as we had thought. We were very naive when we started IVF.
Yeah.
I think
Well, everybody is. You just think...
Because IVF works.
Well,
right?
yeah, it's supposed to just work.
You take these shots, they take your eggs, get your sperm, and you're pregnant, right?
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
For everybody else, it seems like.
For everybody else.
Yeah.
But my doctor at that appointment told me that he was concerned because he didn't see as many follicles as he would expect to see at that point in my cycle. And he wanted to wait until he got my blood work back to let me know more about what it could potentially be. And after that was when I got the diagnosis of diminished ovarian reserve.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know.
Wow.
Shocker.
And you were like,
I thought I was healthy.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, I just married this guy who's got this
He's
funky...
got all the issues.
He's all fragile and stuff.
Oh, bless him. Fragile Rick.
Fragile Rick, who's not fragile.
No, he's like he's a man's man. He was just telling me a story about him killing a snake and tossing it over the fence, so.
But Daniel did that too.
Oh, yeah. Story for another time. I'll let Daniel tell you that one. He's not here to regale you with his snake killing story.
Yeah.
But,
so that was when we figured out and realized that things were not going to be as straightforward as we had once thought. And my doctor and nurse told me that we would probably have ended up with IVF. Anyways.
You probably would have tried for however long and then, or maybe you would have gotten lucky. Who knows? But you don't know.
Exactly. But I mean, not to get too personal, we never used protection anyways in the years that we'd been dating and never had a scare. Yeah.
So what is diminished ovarian reserve? Tell us a little bit about what it actually is. What does it mean to have, diminished ovarian reserve? It's obviously that sounds like you don't have enough eggs or a ton of eggs.
So my understanding of it is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Candace. Dr. Candace. Diminished ovarian reserve is, to my knowledge, something that just happens as we age. We, as we all know, we're born with a set number of eggs, and as the years go on, we lose those eggs, and our fertility decreases as we get older. The way my doctor told me is I have very mature ovaries. Oh. I know.
Like they have little reading glasses on.
Sipping their tea.
And like a cup of infertility. They're sipping on.
They're sipping.
And they have a butler.
And they get their nightly medicine.
Oh. That sounds great. What's the problem with that?
Exactly. But he said, based off of my AMH, my anti-Mullerian, I think that's how you say it. That's how you say Hormone. Yeah. Your AMH is a hormone that your follicles secrete, and mine was very low. I think it was 0.8, 0.7, and he said that was less than half of what it should have been for my age. He said that you just don't have a lot of eggs left. And I think my understanding of it is, as well, is as you age and your ovarian reserve decreases, the quality of the eggs that are there also gets worse. So not only are you battling not having a whole lot of eggs, you're battling the quality of the eggs that you have are pretty shitty. So
now I've also read that DOR can also be caused by like injury or like a really bad illness.
You're right.
Even when you're in utero and your mother like has a virus or something, that can also damage the amount of eggs that you'll have.
Yeah, I've read that too. Like people who are going through cancer, like chemo and radiation, that affects your ovarian reserve and can cause DOR. I've also read that, I think you and I could both talk about this, the chemicals that we're exposed to is definitely a factor that comes into play with DOR. So for me, we don't know what caused that. I, for one, think it has to do with the chemicals that we are surrounding ourselves with on a daily basis. And at an early age, we don't know what we're putting on into our bodies.
I could not agree with you more. I just got a new office chair the other day.
What is it sprayed with?
Shout out, thanks to my boss for getting me a new office chair. But I unpacked it from the box, put it all together, sat down, and all of a sudden I was like, my throat started hurting because like the chemicals from the seat.
Oh my gosh.
It was the foam or whatever. I guess because it was, the off-gassing when something's wrapped in plastic and the chemicals released from the foam.
Yes.
Because it's like made and then immediately packaged. It doesn't air out.
It's compacted.
So it's like, it's like compacted
and then it permeates.
Exactly. So I was sitting there going, And I like got up and I like put the chair out in the hall and I was like, I'm not sticking my vagina on that chair.
My vagina's been through enough.
My reproductive system has been through enough. I am not sticking it on that chemically cesspool of a chair. So I stuck the chair in a conference room across the hallway. Because I was like, there's no way. And I could not even breathe. Our office is like the size of a coat closet. And I just was like, I cannot. So when you're talking about chemicals, it's not just
your lotion.
The lotion that you're using, the makeup that you're using. And I'll try not to go off on a tangent because I do want to do an episode about toxicity and, chemicals and products. But
it's your couches. It's your mattress.
It's in the foam that's made of your seats in your car that you drive to work every day. And, oh, God, don't even start me. So back to the DOR.
Yeah.
You had such a unique experience and opportunity because you had the genetic factor. So going right into it, you were able to kind of find that out without doing too much time wasting.
Yeah, I do feel like we were very fortunate to be in the situation that we were in. We thankfully didn't have the years of trying naturally. And
God, that's... If
I
I
know.
could get back all those years.
I know, and I feel guilty sometimes telling my story in our I can't talk either, in our TTC community because I didn't go through all the years and all the trying that most of y'all have. And I am grateful for that. We didn't have all that heartache.
But you did go through 3 rounds of IVF. And that,
we did.
That's a lot to put your body through. So don't minimize what you've been through.
Thank you, Candace. It sounds like you went to school for psychology.
I did. And how does that make you feel?
Give me my couch, my toxic-filled couch to lay on.
Yes, please lay on this couch.
Yeah, we didn't have that, but we, I think it almost like a God thing that we came together and decided to reproduce together because
I feel like a lot of women would not know about the DOR until they had been trying for a while.
You might have a lot of miscarriages because, like I said earlier, the quality of your eggs that you have with DOR are crap a lot of times. And so I think a lot of these women have recurrent miscarriages or just, the years of trying and not successfully. So
tell us a little bit about your rounds of IVF. When you did your first round, how many embryos did you get? How many eggs did you get?
We got 15 eggs.
15 eggs?
Yeah, which is a great number. Yeah. A great number. But my doctor also said that he put us on a lot of hormones. We had 450 going off every night.
Yep.
Lovely. We got 15 eggs, and 4 of them ended up being PGS tested.
Okay.
And out of those 4, 1 was healthy. 1 was chromosomally normal. The other 3 had a lot of things the matter with them. Like we were talking earlier, the trisomies, the missing chromosomes. They would have been, our
may
doctors
not have made it. Yeah.
Exactly. My doctor, the way he put it was, if he would ever to have implanted, if that embryo would have implanted, we would have probably lost it, or it may have never implanted. So, so we had 1 healthy embryo with that round, and we did transfer it, and we lost it early. We lost it early on. So we ended up doing 2 more rounds.
Yeah. And this is where I heard about batching.
Yes.
So you did your second and third round of IVF back to back.
We did. We had a busy year in 2017.
Yeah.
Our first retrieval was in July of 2017, and then our second was in October, right after we had our loss in September. Our doctor said we could start trying if we wanted to do another round as soon as I got my period. So
Yeah.
we did the second round in October, and we only had 3 embryos that were able to be PGS tested. And our doctor had a very real conversation with us and said, with the diminished ovarian reserve and the genetic component that we were battling against, the odds of us getting a healthy embryo to transfer was very low. And he suggested that we do another round to batch the embryos and send them off for PGS testing together.
Yeah.
So we did. We did 2 rounds back to back, October, and then I think the third one was in December.
Yeah.
So
Yep. And I remember
lots of shots.
I was at my family's farm in Oklahoma. I went to. Well, that's not important. Why?
Tell us more
it's
about
not
that,
important.
Candace.
But I'm trying to do this new thing where like I start talking and then just be like, just shut up. Like, nobody cares what state you were actually in. I was at my family farm when you texted me and told me your PGS results.
Yeah, so from the batching, so we sent off, how many did we send off together? We sent off 8 embryos for PGS testing. We had 3.
Yeah.
We got 3 healthy boy embryos out of that, and I was just amazed and just surprised and just so excited because we had 3 chances, 3 shots. I was really hopeful in that moment that we had our baby in there.
Yep.
Our baby.
So you had your diagnosis because obviously you did your preliminary testing for IVF. How would someone get diagnosed with this? Do you think?
I think our doctors when we go in for our annual PAPs, whatever, our annuals, our doctors need to be talking to us about our fertility at all, not
all
just
the time.
not just at a certain age, all the time. I think that I was very disappointed in my doctor for not talking to me about this.
It's a simple blood test, isn't it?
It's a blood test. They test your AMH, your FSH, and I think that's it. And they look at your ovaries, and it's so simple. I think that our doctors are doing us a disservice as women because all the years of trying all the years that are wasted for some of these people.
If you could know that before you even get married and say, okay, look, I have diminished ovarian reserve. I should probably go ahead and start freezing my eggs now.
Exactly. I mean, that puts you in control of the situation. Yeah. And I don't know, do you watch The Bachelor? You do watch The Bachelor.
Does a bear fit in the woods? We watch The Bachelor.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to get off on a tangent. But Whitney, I think is her name. She was a few seasons back, and she was a fertility nurse.
Yes.
And I think her being on The Bachelor started a conversation because a lot of these other Bachelor women, in the Bachelor community, started freezing their eggs.
Yes,
and
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Now, I read something the other day. Someone posted, it was either on the BBC or, forgive me for not doing research prior to, I mean, like, who's got the time? But it was some article talking about fertility clinics versus there are new egg freezing clinics now where they just do egg freezing. So it's not like an IVF clinic, but people can just go freeze their eggs. And they were talking about how, like, it's potentially controversial. And I was just like, why do you care? Let's talk about something else more important.
Yeah, or let's talk about why people are wanting to freeze their eggs in general. I mean, let's have that conversation and bring more awareness to it because it needs to be done. Yeah. People need to be talking about this at not just a younger age, at all in general. People need to be talking about this. Yeah. And if I had known at an earlier age, I would have frozen my eggs. So I would have had some good quality eggs there to freeze.
Back in your 20s.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I was 29 when we did our first round.
Yeah.
Our first and second round.
Yeah.
And yeah, or maybe Rick and I would have not waited a few years in to go ahead and start doing this. Maybe we would have started right when we got married.
Yeah.
So we would have had, better quality eggs to deal with instead of my mature eggs.
There is this test called modern fertility, and it's like something you can do by mail.
Yeah.
By the way,
Sounds great.
again, not sponsored.
There are so many sponsorship opportunities.
I know. Like, they're just falling by the wayside.
Let's tag them in all of this.
I will. I'll, but this is interesting to me because I think I started following them on Instagram. I think they liked one of my posts, and I was like, modern fertility, what's
they
this?
should sponsor
I
it.
mean, they should sponsor. But I was like, what is this? So I kind of looked around, and I thought it was so interesting.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it.
So what I know about it is I think you can do it at home. It's a blood test.
You get like a box.
Yes. And it tests your AMH. What else does it test? Your FSH, your estrogen, your estradiol, your TSH, and a few other things. But all of that, to know at an early age or at any point in your life, would help you when you're deciding to start to try and have kids, right?
Yeah. And also, they have, like, in their package, you, like, prick your finger and you put your blood sample on the card.
Yeah.
You put it in this, like, bag or something, and you send it off. And they actually send you a report that's really simple to understand. So it's not all these, like, levels, and you're like, well, what does that even mean? They have, like, a physician analyze the results, and they send you back a report. It's about time that we have something like this that's available,
it's
right?
what, 2019?
Yeah. I'll say it again. Cars are driving themselves.
They
And
are.
we're so behind when it comes
to fertility.
Yes.
Anything related to fertility. One of my girlfriends actually said she's getting ready to do this. So I'm interested to see how her results
will
look.
you please,
Follow up.
Yes.
We'll do a
follow-up on that. Or maybe I can give her a call.
Ooh.
And she can tell us how it worked for her.
She would love that.
That would be so cool.
But just with, ever since we became open and came out about
I always call it coming out, too.
Yeah, we came out of the closet, the Infertility Closet. A lot of my friends have been interested in their own fertility. So I think that's great, if we're starting the conversation about infertility.
Yeah.
So my friend wants to do this. So.
That's so cool. I would love to hear from her. Now, I have one last question for you.
I hope I have an answer.
Because I see a lot of women on Instagram asking the community. I have low AMH, I have DOR, and my doctor wants to start with an IUI. What would you say to someone who's in this position of diminished ovarian reserve, where you've already told us that not only do you have less eggs, but the quality is also a factor? Would you say they should probably not waste their time with IUI?
I would definitely agree with that. I think I can't speak to what is involved with IUI because I've never done that. But when you're dealing with low quality eggs, you're going to get low quality embryos, and with that comes the increased risk of miscarriages and other things that are involved when your quality of eggs is low. So why waste your time? Why waste that money? Why not just go straight to IVF?
You're also wasting eggs.
Exactly.
Because you're stimulating a bunch of eggs to release at the same time. In an IUI, just like you would for IVF, it's not actually, you're not on as high of a dose for IVF because they're not trying to like retrieve as many eggs as they can. They just want you to ovulate more than one egg. So I feel like putting yourself through multiple rounds of IUIs, you're throwing eggs away.
Exactly. I have a friend actually at work who is in this very position. She has low AMH, and she's on her 5th IUI. And
Wow.
I know. And I told her, I'm like, you are wasting time. I might sound judging, I might be overstepping, but speaking from somebody who's done multiple rounds of IVF, there's not a guarantee there either. So
Yeah.
why waste the
And I
money
think
and the
as
energy?
women, like, we hate when people, like, give,
Unsolicited.
unsolicited advice,
Yes.
but when you come from that place of, like, I know, like, I really, really know, and I really care about you, and I just don't want you to waste your time.
I know. And the eggs and the emotions, just everything that's involved with this. Why
And
go?
5 IUIs, that's
a lot.
IVF money.
I know. She keeps saying that she's saving money, but you're not.
If you were out there and you were listening to this about DOR and you had DOR, do you think there's any more advice you would want?
Look at the supplements that you're taking. I
Yeah.
mean, I read the Bible. It starts with an egg.
It starts with the egg.
It starts with the egg, and there's a lot of really good information in there about the supplements to take. I took a lot of CoQ10.
Oh, Coke? You do Coke Q10?
CoQ10. Talk to your doctor about the supplements.
Absolutely. Because, you're talking about egg quality, and you have 3 months. I believe the life cycle of the ovum is 3 months.
Tell us more, Candace.
So you start those supplements, and in a few months you can really, improve that egg quality.
Exactly.
I do know some women who have poor egg quality, and that's been a huge thing for them in IVF, and changing the supplements, changing their diet has really improved things for them.
Yes. I think it really helped us because looking back at the numbers of the eggs we retrieved and how many embryos ended up being healthy in all of our cycles, our third cycle was our best one. And I had obviously been on all those supplements longer during our third cycle.
Yeah.
So I really think it helps.
Yeah.
Our third retrieval we sent in that batch. When I got my PGS results back, it said, from batch 2, batch 3. You know how it separates. The 3 that were from our third retrieval, all of those were healthy.
That's amazing.
I know.
And I remember you telling me that. You said if he hadn't have suggested doing a third round right away,
We would have
they were all from that round.
the only healthy ones that we got were from that third round.
Yeah.
With that batch.
That's amazing.
I mean, I thank our doctor
Yeah.
there. I think he knew what he was talking about in that situation.
Yeah.
So we're very grateful. So
That's
look at the
awesome.
supplements you're taking if you have DOR.
So, lastly, tell us what happened. Tell us what happened. We've been waiting this whole time.
So we did our second transfer on February 2nd of 2018, and I got pregnant.
Woo!
And stayed pregnant.
Yay!
Pregnant and stayed pregnant. And we had our son on October 24th.
Yay!
And life is amazing. I mean, we're so grateful.
Yeah.
I look at him and I can't believe that he's ours. I can't believe that we saw him as a little baby 5-day-old embryo
Yeah.
and transferred him. And it's just, there's hope out there.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up, guys.
No matter what obstacles you face, cling to hope, guys.
Cling to hope.
She's wearing her Think Positive
I
shirt for
am.
everyone.
I've got my pineapples.
Well, thank you so much for joining me and letting me come invite myself to your house. I was
You did invite yourself,
I was like,
Candace.
are you busy this weekend? Can I come over and bring my microphones?
Guys, you should see these microphones.
We're
that
like
are,
Ryan Seacrest on air right now.
oh, if only.
Yeah.
If only. Come
We're
on.
like, seriously, we're in business big time.
Seacrest Productions.
I
Another
know.
sponsorship opportunity.
I know.
Well, thank you for
Thank
coming.
you so much.
It was fun.
We could talk for a lot longer,
What
but
could we talk about?
I'll let you get back to your cute baby. Oh my gosh, guys. I rolled up and he had sweet potatoes in his eyelashes. And I was like, I don't even like sweet potatoes, but I'm about to lick this out your eyeballs.
Oh, he's the cutest.
He's so sweet.
I know everyone says that about their own.
Check our cover picture on Podbean for how cute he is.
He's the cutest.
Yeah. It was so good to see you.
It was good to see you
Thank you
too.
for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for listening.
I know it's personal and raw and real, but
It is.
we thank you because it's going to help.
It will help somebody out there. Somebody with DOR and a genetic whatever. I can't talk. Just edit all that out.
She needs her nap, guys. We got to go.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow, they've been through a lot.
Yeah, they have.
I'm glad they got their little man, though.
Yeah, he's so cute. I tried to bring him home, but
Yeah.
she was all,
Well,
how parents can be.
A lot of the time as well, Candice, you're not very good at trying to steal the babies.
I know.
You got to get better.
I didn't have my shoes on, so that was going to slow me down.
Yep.
Plus, I had a lot of stuff to get,
Yep.
take out to my car, so it just wasn't viable. It wasn't a good opportunity.
There's
But
always
maybe
next
next time.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
Yeah.
time.
Next time on the Infertility Podcast.
Asherman syndrome, fibroids, and polyps.
Thanks for listening. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Candace.
Night-night.